Alright, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day, a lovely night wherever you're from, and real quick before we get started, as always, I want to give a lovely shout out to the channel members on this channel. So thank you so much to these lovely commanders here that you see on screen. Thank you guys so much for your guys' constant generosity and support to me as always. It really means a lot to me, so thank you guys so much. And if you guys are actually interested in becoming a lovely commander yourself, if you are interested in any of these cute and lovely emotes, loyalty crown badges, you want a special role in the Discord, make sure to join the Discord. But as always, if you choose to do so, thank you so much. Just remember, that's not the only way that you can support me. Just watching the content like you are right now is truly the best way. Liking, subscribing, and commenting, everything really does help, so thank you guys so much. And for today's video, to finally wrap up our discussion with talking about Delta, it's time. Sorry for a break day, guys. I was just so busy yesterday that I couldn't get to uploading, so I hope you guys understand. With that being said, it is finally time to talk about her, and as always with these type of videos, I like to break it down into 3 categories. I like to talk about the timing, the income, and everything. I like to talk about the waifu aspect, which is always subjective, but I love to talk about it. Then I love to talk about the testing, the skills, and equipment that you want for her, then get down to talking about testing results. So let's get started. And honestly, right now, when we're talking about timing, this could not be the worst time for a banner, because as great as she looks, the anniversary is upcoming, alright? Let's be real here. Next Saturday, we are going to be getting the live stream. Really excited to cover that. And then following that, we are getting the anniversary. It's going to be a big one. I have a feeling it's going to be really solid. Also planning on making a video in regards to talking about what to expect from the anniversary as well, compared to previous years. So really excited. But right now, bottom line is, this is just a poorly timed banner. This is obviously a bait banner. Really good, like solid, like fan service. But right now, it's just not worth it for a lot of people because they want to save their pulls for the anniversary. Unless you have your pity ready to go, which is perfect timing, I understand. But if we're not caring about timing or anything like that, and the only thing you care about is whether you should use her for your account or not, really depends, because if you have supports like Treasure 3 Helm, if you have like Summer E-Leg, you have Ludmilla, like realistically, there isn't a big need for you to have this character, but she has potential and it's frustrating. And I'm going to talk about that later, but she does look great, and I do want to quickly talk about that fan service, as always, because for me, this was easily a solid pull. I mean, like I said, I always pull no matter what for either banner. I don't care. This is what I'm here for. I'm here for the gooning, you know what I mean? Looks great, like solid 2D. Someone said it does remind me of the Mary, like, bunny skin. Really does. Looks solid. And even then, the shooting pose looks good, man. Good booba. Good JPS. Looking really nice. Even the chibi is just stacked shamelessly. Looks so good. And honestly, I do wish, like, I realize it's a 2D model, so you can't. But man, do I wish you could rotate the normal models, because I would love to see the side booba. I'm just saying. Looks good. Looks really good. But outside of quickly talking about the fan service and everything, we need to talk about her. So for me, I did invest a little bit more than usual, just because I'm a big fan and I'm just thinking about investing her in the future. I did max out a blue doll to get her to SR5 for a purple doll. I got her equipment to level 0 OL, and for me, you know, not the best rolls. I got a good bit of max ammo, some attack, more max ammo, some random crit, elemental damage, max ammo, and then more elemental and attack. So a little bit decent for what I wanted, not bad for a defender, which I'm okay with, but it could be better. But as always with this type of character, honestly, I feel like your biggest priority, like despite just like trying to go for like the elemental or attack or whatever, is like max ammo, just so she doesn't have to keep constantly reloading. But it's not a big deal if you don't, if you just use resilience. That's just my takeaway. And for me, because I have a lot of max ammo lines, I did give her the Bastion Cube, and honestly, I'm gonna keep it there. I don't care. It's a simp character. Like, fight me. But the biggest point of contention that I want to talk about when we're talking about Delta is her skills, because I have her at 777. But after doing some testing, which I will provide context for later, you should only really have her right now, honestly, at 744. Because it's not worth investing into her skill 2 or burst. Now let's talk about why her skill 2. Her skill 2 has 2 like criteria. Either you use her and she has no other defender, or you use her and she has a defender. Now, her skill without a defender is trash. I'm sorry. Shields aren't really that great, and the taunt is like whatever. There's really no point in using her if you don't have a defender on your team, because her skill with the defender is actually really nice. That health that she gets is really good. That's great, but here's the problem with her skill 2 is the lack of defenders that can help support Delta. And if we go and look at what defenders are available, realistically, Cinderella, you're not using her. She is honestly attached to the Cinderella team. And arguably, I would say Rouge is also attached to Cinderella. Now, she's not as attached, but for me, even for me, I wouldn't even be using Rouge in this case. I feel like it's just not worth it for the outcome. And then if we're talking about Crown, she's going to be somewhere else. She's always going to have another team. Whatever your best team 1 is for a raid, you're going to be using her with them. And then if we want to talk about Blanc, the issue with our White Bunny is that she's not a 40-second unit. She is a 60-second unit without Noir or Rouge. So you need one of the other characters from the 777 squad if you want her to at least be really good. She's not 40-second. She's 60. So if we're going for anything else, it's going to be like Holy's Treasure, something like that. And for me, honestly, that's just all copium right now. To me, the biggest problem with this character is the idea that she needs a defender to support herself, yet this whole year, they have neglected any defenders. So I'm hoping maybe for this anniversary, we get a good defender that can help assist Delta. Copium, but it could be. Who knows? I have a feeling it's going to be 2 units and one of them could be defender, so we'll have to see. And if we're talking about burst, I'm going to be honest, once again, I feel like it's just not enough with the caster's attack just because she's a defense character. So for her, most of the time her attack is not even that great anyway. And I didn't even see that much of a difference between using her in a burst rotation and just having her off burst. So I feel like for now, until we have another character that can help utilize her a bit more, I feel like it's not worth investing into the skill for the burst. So 744 to me is the better spot if you just want her off burst. Because realistically, the damage taken debuff is her highlight here. It's really the bread and butter of her kit that makes her actually decent and could be good if she had a good spot right now that isn't being taken up by using some of these great characters that you would realistically not use. But if you're just doing normal content or just pushing Tribe Tower and you want to use these characters, go for it. Who cares? Have fun with it. If you want to push campaign with them, go for it. I'm just thinking about it from like the meta aspect, I suppose, if that's the best way that you want to look at it. And I'm going to be honest, the team that I'm going to be using isn't that great of a comparison because you wouldn't be using it realistically. But I want to be using Delta or any other support. I'm going to have Crown alongside it, Siren, Summer, Doro, and I'm going to be using Quincy Ult because that's actually a great water DPS for me. And I'm going to be doing this in Union shooting range. So if there are any issues, I will be talking about it because there are some discrepancies I want to mention. So let's get started. So when it comes down to testing, I did 2 versions of testing with Delta in water Union shooting range. Did one with her bursting, then one without, just to see the difference if she was able to burst every other rotation. And as always, this is going to be the same squad throughout, like I mentioned. The Little Mermaid, Doro, Quincy, and Crown are going to be here. When we're breaking it down right now, Doro is doing 4.2 billion, Quincy doing 4.1 billion, which is pretty good. But when we compare with her off bursting, it's a bit interesting because I feel like she just benefits more with just her skill 1 passive, like I mentioned. So now Doro's doing almost 4.4 billion, and Quincy doing around 4.5 billion, just edging out Doro just a little bit, which I found interesting. But when we compare with, you know, my helm, this is when it gets a little bit like, all right, come on. Because this is a T3 helm. Not everyone is going to have her, but there is a massive difference here. Almost 4.8 billion for Doro, and around the same of a 4.5 billion for Quincy. Looking really good, and the damage is almost comparable, and that's the thing I wanted to mention, why I feel like her burst is so underwhelming, because even if she's bursting right here, Delta's doing 1 billion, but then Delta's only doing 830 million over here. So it's not much of a boost, honestly, for the damage difference, and you benefit more with her just being an off burst. So that's why I felt like it was just not really necessary to invest in her first. But then when we're comparing with Ludmilla, this is where it falls off a bit, because I want to talk about Ludmilla because she is my weakest link right now in terms of supports and investment. I don't have her that great. So Doro's almost doing 4.2 billion. Quincy's almost doing 4.4 billion. Ludmilla doing 1.4 billion. However, I want to say that this is not her right battle climate at all. She'd be doing a lot better in Harvester, but I just wanted just like a clean slate comparison. So the only reason Delta has an advantage is just because this is not really Ludmilla's forte. She'd be doing a lot more when it came to Harvester, so just keep that in mind. And then lastly, I wanted to do a comparison with Summer E-Leg, and I was actually surprised here. Almost 5 billion for Doro Summer, and then Quincy Escape Queen, 4.4 billion, and E-Leg doing around 2.5 billion as well. This was definitely my highest damage in the shooting range, so really solid. But all this to say that Delta was comparable. This is comparable. So if you don't have a support like this and you need one, I think Delta's worth pulling just to have. But just keep in mind that a lot of her kit is just kind of going to be rough because you're not really going to utilize her in the right way, especially if you don't have a defender, and that's the biggest problem. But if you're using her on a team and you don't have a Naga as like an off-burst support, you don't have like T3 Helm, you don't have Ludmilla, you don't have Summer Eleg, then I feel like it might be comparable to have this character, but that's depending on what kind of account you have, right? But at the same time, this is a standard character that will be added to the wish list probably after this update with Milk. I'm expecting the anniversary update to include both of them, so maybe just pull then. I'm planning on having a huge pulling session when it comes down to that. So do let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Honestly, Delta has potential, but right now the way that we lack a lot of stuff for her, kind of unfortunate that she's in a bad position, but it is what it is. She looks great. That is going to be it from me, so I hope you guys have a lovely day, lovely night wherever you're from, and as always, thank you so much for the constant support. Take care and have a good one.